Let me begin with you, Lee Shin Mei, because CTOS, in CTOS, you have the front row seat into the nation's financial data. So we hear a lot of exciting things from setlary, as well as the collaboration from Cafe and Hoong and stuff like that. But let's talk about the problems that we are actually solving. Early wage access. Are Malaysians or bulk of Malaysians really living from paycheck to paycheck? Is this a myth or is it a reality check? Is this a serious problem in Malaysia? What's your problem?
I think thank you, Jin, for opening this question, and thank you, Cheah, for having me. I think first of all, it depends on which category we are looking at. But if let's say I was just looking at some data as I come to this event, is that if you look at really March 2025, Malaysia household debt is amounting close to 1.65 trillion. That alone is already about 84.3% of our national GDP. So I think zooming to then, that is really coming from loans and credit card facilities that are generally Malaysian applied to. But then back to Jin's question is that are they this category of individual that has the need of emergency, right, where they actually need certain funding or certain cash to actually solve certain of issue that they actually face at that moment of time. So this is actually where while we look at CTOS, a lot of time people see us as that company, right? That kind of like that piece of but we don't do that, right? Is what we're trying to do now is really related to what the panelists today is around ESG, which is the S of it. The importance of realizing financial literacy come across in an ecosystem like setlary and ESG Association Malaysia that then bring a lot of this awareness. So which is why I think what setlary is doing, I kind of like echo it a lot, right? Because I think this kind of like provide an emergency fund. However, this emergency fund is not a loan or debt that is actually accumulated, because it's actually something that the employee already earned. So this is really something that will help bridge some of these issues that we might create a lot more burden to the nation.
Alright. Thank you for the answer. I think one interesting point that I pick up there is that Ms. Shin Mei, you mentioned about the component of S in ESG, right? So I'll throw this question to Professor Cheah, because as the president of ESG Association Malaysia, you guys are at the forefront of ESG advocacy, and you have a close link of working with corporates as well. But we always hear about the component of E in ESG, which is the environmental side of things. But what about social? What's the implication of it, and what kind of topics do we actually discuss in the component of S? Maybe you want to share a few of them?
Thank you. First and foremost, congratulations, Charles and ecosystem partner. So I'm Cheah. Just a bit, first part of the answer not to his question. ESG Association Malaysia is a new NGO, non-profit government. We started in 2022, and it's a very painful start and uphill task. Actually, to brief some of you, actually ESG birth was started in 2004. Guess what? This year is 2025. There's a lot of conversation, advocacy, and conspiracy theory in ESG. Especially our Mr. Trump back in Harvard in the US, he put the motion called anti-ESG. So why we are here talking about S in ESG? Okay. Anyway, thanks for the question, Jin. So when we talk about this, I was very impressed by the presenter earlier. This is something new to me about P2P lending is not new to me. However, when I hear the earlier presenter, I was very touched. And this is a big business. And ladies and gentlemen, as CTOS will know very well, in this country we have 1.2 million of SMEs. Guess what? 97 or 98% are SMEs. And they have a lot of challenges. And one of the challenges, rightfully by Charles and also by the earlier presenter, is about money. It's about credit, it's about lending beside the salary. Why SME facing the lending problem? Because they need to pay the salary. They need to buy the raw material. So the work of ESG Association of Malaysia actually is to give the helping hand to SME to get prepared in Bahasa, we call it sediakan payung sebelum hujan. And a lot of people is very happy to get a PO, but there will be some wondering, they don't have the credit financing to buy the raw material or to pay the salary in advance. And earlier when I met Han, sorry, pardon me my language, because I'm Malaysian. My conversation is in Bojang. You know, in my days, I came from a kampong. You know, a lot of people surviving based on daily wages. I'm very touched by Charles and Han, you guys have funded this one. You are addressing the major gap in many underserved SMEs. Then the second example I give you earlier is plantation. My father came from plantation. Daily salary just buy the food for to survive. So every day she will be very happy. We can see one in our troubled days. When the moment we found the cereal, the cereal or durian, the week itself, we know that Papa get a salary weekly. And you guys are really addressing the gap. I really hope that S is one of the very important elements about E and G, so I can talk hours, however. So this momentum or this awareness have to be cascaded to many SMEs. Actually, you all have the solution. And this will be one of the solutions to address not only the salary and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the question. That I think really touches the heart of many Malaysians as well as employers, businessmen as well, because we as employers we want to pay our wages to protect our employees, right? We want them to get why. That's what we do. So thank you to Lee Shin Mei as well for clarifying on certain pointers there. So this circles back to you, right, Charles? Let me show this question to you. We have two esteemed guests here today, writing or putting out the foundation of this problem of social problems happening in Malaysia. So circle back to the solution that Salary is going to be providing. How are we actually implementing this solution across employers? And how are we tracking the scalability or the data side of things? Do you want to chip in a bit on that?
For sure. So, what Professor Cheah just said really touched my heart as well. And you know, at the beginning when I mentioned why Han and I started this salary journey, is really to address this pain point. I think there's no real research to show, but say 100 years ago, without this advent of what I call capitalism, I think back then people were paid on a daily basis, maybe at the most on a weekly basis. But with this new monetary system and capitalism, basically, I hate to say this, but employers are squeezing their employees for 1 month of free working capital. It's like your employees are like any other supplier. Why don't you pay your employees first? Of course, it's free money. In finance, it's free working capital. But unfortunately, that's how the system works. And who bears the brunt of all of this financial burden? It's the employee. And I always tell this to people, what is the biggest resource that any organization needs? It's your employees. You can drag your suppliers for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, but you have to pay your employees on time. Without employees, there's no business. And our research shows, I think about 30% of the workforce in Malaysia is below 2,000 ringgit. And minimum wage is 1,007. And hand to heart, is that sufficient? And they still got to wait to month end. I think sometimes you see on the even the low wage, even to pump petrol or motorcycle, 5 ringgit or so they have to squeeze out. Big ends meet for the day. So I hope to answer that question, a bit long and short, but salary is here to solve that pain point, right? To break the traditional month-end payroll model, and that's what our vision says, like to make every day your payday. That's what we hope to achieve.
All right, thank you, Charles. In terms of the, in terms of tracking the data, so I think Alan has presented a real nice dashboard just now. I'm not a user yet.
Our competitors are charging for their subscription on a monthly basis or even yearly basis, but we are giving it for free.
All right, thank you so much. So, let me talk a bit more, right? Going back to Lee Shin Mei, I want to talk a bit more on financial literacy. This is something that is quite important. Charles was on our podcast a couple months back. One major concern that I have is, do all these people know how to use the additional money? This is one big problem. I think when we talk about early wage access, right, two issues. One is financial literacy, the other one is financial access. Because without a credible platform like Salary, people will be going to so-called illegal or under the table alternative funding options.
Or
Also known as Along. So what's your take on that?
Okay, I think literacy definitely come, is a journey, right? You don't achieve, you don't go and, you don't know something, then you find out. That's actually what we believe, right? And I think, then relate back to Jin, what you asked on this question, right? But again, whether it's something that's guided, is actually where I just forget to mention just now that I'm presented about your dashboard, right? About how you provide access about your employee financial health. This is actually where I believe that as a responsible employer, you don't just hire a staff to just run the day-to-day, right? But there are good staff and also there are also bad employee, right? So the good employee, you wanted to retain them. So which is why the guided way of not releasing all payment to the employee will help them also to realize that this is actually something manageable, and then with intervention from probably a HR person, a manager, right? That helps with the overall financial health. I'm not talking about literacy yet, right? But as also when I talk about retention, this is important because what SME are facing, they are not large company. Even the big company like CTOS, we have problems retaining our people. But one of the big ways to really put some care and effort into this is really how do you also provide care, where psychologically you don't see physically when somebody is actually struggling financially. But with dashboard like what Setlary is doing, right, a HR person can be more proactive rather than reactive in providing help. So I thought that's actually very important. Then back to SME, where this is an effort that CTOS is doing, and we work with a lot of ecosystem partners. Setlary is actually one of our partners. ESG is also one of our partners. Is that we go around and help SME to be able to unleash some of this technology that usually available for larger company. But this is a good effort that now SME with 30, you start with 30, right, Cheah? With 30 employees, you can start embarking this, right, which is a good retention because SME always struggle, not just with cash, right, to pay salary, but how do I get the best talent to work for me in the longer term for me to grow my business. So that's actually where I see, right, the risk can be mitigated with control manner, and rather than the risk becomes something that let loose, right, then it's out of control.
So we take care of those employees first, and then we educate them on the laws.
Correct. Yeah. I think we also want to urge everybody, we believe in really driving the growth of SME in Malaysia and also the talent environment. So we do have effort that we go around the country doing a lot of financial literacy to individual to businesses that will actually drive I think more knowledge and awareness.
Can I just quickly add on? Thank you for pointing out our dashboard because I think it is a very powerful tool for employers to actually use it. So in terms of their basic salaries, in terms of limits, our dashboard allows the employer to actually control those limits. You can set for individual employees. So for example, you feel that maybe the risk is a bit too high. If I have to give you the full 100% limit, you can actually set 30%, 50%, whatever you believe is appropriate. So that's the point I wanted to point out.
So Charles, would you say this progression, right, into, let's say if I'm really bad with managing finance, right, okay, I'll just open it up an additional 10% of capital access to the employee, and as time goes by, he or she will be, a bit smarter with how to manage that additional cash, and then we open up the threshold.
Exactly. In terms of in Malaysia, we signed up about 70 customers now, 70 companies. So a lot of that experience, they told us at the start, some of them said 30% limits only. And then as they monitor the behavioral trends, the employee is not, errant or, every day the empty, good employee. Okay, gradually he opens up and limit further and further.
Nice. I love that. It's financial literacy is not something that I think you can just force into someone's mind.
Sorry, just last point, I just want to make a clear distinction. Like you mentioned also, it's deservedly the individual's own salary. It's already earned it. It's not like a payday loan. A payday loan is very different. It can go up to a 6-month tenure, 12-month tenure. That's very different. In salary, the maximum, and based on labor laws, we only go one more month in advance. We don't go beyond that.
All right. Thank you, Charles. Professor Cheah, I'm circling back to you again. Just now you mentioned that the concept of ESG started in 2004, correct me if I'm wrong, and right now it's 2025, heading into 2026. So it has been 21 years. Throughout this period, right, there's a lot of talks and debates on the inaction of things, but only circling the element of environmental. We all know they talk about how the earth, the environment is going to get worse for our future generations, so on and so forth. But let's talk a bit more about social side of things. Can someone just sit, or an employer just sit on it right now and I don't take any action? And I only suffer one drawback, which is the lack of retention on talents. Do I suffer anything else? Do I lose anything else? What's your take on that?
I think this is very subjective question. You can recover it. I can get my point. So I can give you five numbers of examples. Maybe a couple of years ago when the COVID hit the world, actually Malaysia ordered the biggest temperature. Do you know that? Because of Gulf. Because of Gulf. Maybe some of you from the company. And you know, right after there's some visual role, I call it the visual role. Actually, they are professional that until the company is secret, then until the lawsuit, they get money out of it. It's a new profession and many things. And you guess what? This company benefited from the opposite profits made. They have about 7 factories in the country. Guess what? They have to close down 5 factories. It's so painful. Do you know due to what? Due to the social, one of the elements in the social is about human labor. So Shin Mei mentioned earlier about financial credit and so on. We don't know what we don't know. ESG is not rocket science. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much of the ESG 101 in the last 2-3 years. However, I want to relate back to the 2004 when then the second Mr. Kopiaman, United Nations, before he launched it, he called 17 top bankers in the world. Hey guys, capital market is enough. You're already, reaping the enough profits and in the expense of the earth and planet. It's time for you all to start this responsible investment. So, a couple months ago, I was addressing about 500 China investors here in town. Because one of my friends asking me to talk about, they are launching about this RWA, real world tokenization, securitized tokenization. I said, I do know about Web3 and so on. Why you ask me to talk? President, I don't want you to talk about 2 things. Number 1, I want to talk about patient capital. Patient. 中文叫做耐心基金，耐心投资。Second, talking about 良心基金。Conscious capital. So when this morning you guys talk about it, with the gentleman, I said this is something about intertwined with this too. And if you think about this patient, a lot of investors, I'm PE, I'm VC, I was doing a lot of investment as well. We're talking about our short term. How about mid to long term? I think the patient. You show me the ROI, or else I won't invest in it. But you relate back to this patient because of the Chinese investor. So at the end of the day, my presentation is in Chinese, unexpectedly. And I think that, guys, you are here to invest, but you don't manage our system, our market. You must let something to us. Instead of you take all. This is also intertwined with this patient capital and also conscious investment. So ESG is talking about sustainability. It's long term, mid to long term. And ESG, in many ways, I relate the sustainability equals to survivability. Ladies and gentlemen, any competition the market industry is subject to compete, right? The survivability. However, we must compete in the fair and in the justice way. The moment if we get some external forces and eventually many of our SMEs have closed shop, this country will be in danger. 40% of our GDP depends on SMEs, and 60% of our employability is depends on SMEs. We only have about 5,000 MNC, we only have about 1,000 of PLC. Ladies and gentlemen, the policymaker cannot keep on talking and support SME, but actually, this company of setlary, I'm not an ambassador of them, right? No, ESG Association of Malaysia also cannot certify this solution is not a greenwashing. However, what they do at this moment, I can see a lot of relevancy to the industry and really walk the talk and talk about. Instead of I said policy, I said this, we have more than 20 policies in town about sustainability, about green, about the ESG. But guess what? Which policy is really down to earth? Which policy is really active? Beside others, So this is very relevant topic. I really hope that we have more people in the room and don't talk. You drink and you walk. And I can talk in hours because at the last 3 years, not because of us, and because of this motion, because of this environmental, there's a lot of our members started to come up with a lot of good solutions, contributing to the society, helping the community. I'm very thankful and grateful actually.
Wow. Give Professor Cheah a round of applause. Thank you so much, Professor Cheah. I think I've learned a lot today, particularly what Lee Shin Mei and Professor Cheah shared just now, and also I think it echoes a lot with what Cheah said during the opening today, right? You see, today is the beginning of something new. It's not the end for setlary. It's the first step, I would say, towards the right direction. And I think this concept is always evolving. Ang showed us a lot of tools and stuff like that. Perhaps maybe I can throw one last question to you. Show us a bit more on, because you're the brain behind the main driver of setlary. What are some of the future plans?
So it's a very nice lead up, actually, what Professor Cheah said, because we're trying to also showcase for everybody what we've been doing for the past 2 months. So walking the talk, patient capital, your Yangxing, your conscience, the capital, I think we are doing it currently as we speak. 2 months ago, we rolled out what we call our GMAT Essential Program. So if you just go to our app, employees can straight away look at subsidized essential items. Every month there will be about 6 to 7 items, from biscuits to Milo to cooking oil to even toilet paper in some cases. But the point being, these are essential items, and we've already rolled it out. So what I want to tell people is, we are not a charity. Of course, we are business. We have to make some money, right, for the long term. So we do earn from the employees because they are the ones that are paying the fee, but we also give back to them in terms of this GMAT Essentials. At the same time, last month we rolled out an insurance program that we are giving. These P40 employees have never known the concept of insurance. Now we're giving them free coverage. But to be honest, it's not a lot in terms of some assured maybe 30 to 50,000 in case of personal accident and death. But it's better than nothing. And I think what we're trying to create is a financial safety net. And in the future, we have a few more surprises up our sleeve. One will come quite soon, which is blood tests and health screening. So, I mean, we are happy to subsidize that, and that's obviously a very important part of your daily life. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charles. I think we are running out of time, but before today's session, I actually just so happened I came across one presentation of Professor Cheah in one of the uni. He said this, right? I'm not sure if you remember, but we have one slide saying that ESG can be summarized in 3 words: everybody, somebody, and nobody. Then I was like, what is Professor Cheah trying to say? Turns out is that ESG started as a concept where everybody has to take care of it, but everybody is thinking that this is somebody's job. In the end, nobody takes action, and it hurts all of us. Maybe something for everyone to think about today. Well, thank you so much for the panel. I think that's it.